Hello, I am Wyona Eaton, here to present my final project, Prestige and Status in IO Psychology, Appealing to Diverse Populations. The topic of the following research revolves around subjects such as race culture, occupation, and economics. The study will use real data to answer a research question on the topic of interest. Occupational prestige scores, socioeconomic status, and race are the topics of the discussion. Research on the topic is designed in contribution towards positive social change within the field of industrial organizational psychology. The research selections include background on the topic and reasoning, study presentations, results, brief description, recommendations, any maybe contributions, limitations, and possible future research. An analyzation is conducted through statistical testing and by providing an explanation of the statistical results for the lay audience. This is done to bring clarification on the phenomenon. To discover a solution to an issue involving diverse populations in the psychology profession, the research study will use main components of the IO psychology field. IO psychologist aims to improve the well-being and performance of people and the organizations that employ them. The IO psychologist improvement efforts also includes workforce planning, employee selection, or leadership development to studying job attitudes and job motivation, implementing work teams, improving diversity and inclusion, and, of course, facilitating organizational change. The dynamics of IO psychology is vast, of which may be a cause for little diversity in its field. The perceived notion about the workplace, by my own experience as an African American female, is that in the attempt to omit workplace barriers requires an outward climb rather than an inward climb through vehicles such as human resources or organizational development. In other words, I have experienced going through difficult avenues such as working harder or being overlooked than those of other races, just in effort to change my socio-economic dynamics. The hypothesis is that there is no relationship between socioeconomic status and race mediated by the occupational prestige score. I believe that if the empirical proof of the socioeconomic status and occupational prestige score relationship to a person's race is disclosed, it will create an interest in the diverse population that could possibly orchestrate social change by becoming an IO psychologist. The quantitative study seeks to bring insight on why the field of IO psychology may appeal to diverse populations. Social change can be affected by the occupational prestige score and socioeconomic status in the idea of how the higher a person's occupational prestige score and socioeconomic status is, the greater their importance or chance of success in the science realm of society. The purpose of the study will be to test the theory of optimal conceptualization theory that relates to socioeconomic status and occupational prestige score in conjunction with the person's race. Socioeconomic status is the independent variable. The occupational prestige score is considered as the mediation variable, with race as the independent or predictor variable. According to Meyer and Spate, 2010, the optimal psychology theory is based on cultural understanding of human functioning that went beyond the limits of prevailing Western cultural worldview to acknowledge and embrace the spiritual aspects of being, the primary and proactive role of consciousness in human experience, and its subjective yet socially constructed nature. The theory was chosen to help the reader understand the phenomenon of the interdependence and interrelatedness of spiritual, mental, physical, social, and environmental well-being. The study focuses on providing insight on possible reasons of why an individual, such as an African American female, would or would not find interest in the IO psychology field and is likely to lead to a solution. According to Marian Ayres, the lack of cross-cultural perspective on organizational behavior has limited our understanding of why motivational approaches are not easily transferred across cultures. Although the IO psychology field has improved over time, diversity is still a concern. Multiple regression model performs best in situations such as the one presented in the research study. According to Warner, the mediation model hypothesizes about causal sequence, a direct path between X1 and Y, which may or may not be included. This signifies a path of two or more variables in a relationship. Socioeconomic status and occupational prestige score are related but operate in different aspects of society. Measures of occupational prestige scores assesses either individual or household levels that indicates the participant's most recent occupation that is classified into occupational categories. The GSS 2014 Student Advanced Quantitative Studies dataset values were used in the research is condensed for the socioeconomic and occupational prestige score. The occupational prestige score measures provide information related to the aforementioned various positions derived from a career in the IO psychology profession. The Bureau of Labor Statistics provides a tangible list of the census occupational classifications in telling how the IO psychologist can play a role in numerous occupational categories. I believe that this information can be utilized to entice a diverse population to see many facets of opportunities available in IO psychology, regardless of the statistical differences across race groups. The dependent variable in the study, socioeconomic status, measures highlight a reactive point for many people in our society, finance. By appealing to the diverse population in hope to change the dynamics of social change in the IO psychology profession, it requires some finesse. According to the APA, the American Psychological Association, subjective social status measures include perceptions of one's social standing using categories such as working class or middle class, or perceptions of one's social position relative to to other individuals based on income, educational attainment, and occupational prestige. To my understanding, the IO psychology profession would allow the individual a greater opportunity to attract all workplace nuances on various levels. Also, the health status of a country depends on the socioeconomic status and the per capita income of its citizens. Both variables in the research study are similar in the realm of occupation, of which is the primary reason for choosing them to provide concentrated depth to the appeal. Analysis and results. The model summary in the chart shows R as 0.828, with R squared 6.686, and an adjusted R squared equaling 0.686, with the standard error of the estimate as 12 0.5543. This actually indicates no difference in the prediction of the outcome variable y, socioeconomic, from X1, race, and X2, occupational prestige score. The ANOVA results show as F times the 417,839.929 in conjunction with the 157.611, which equals out to be the 2651.02, indicating that the research is statistically significant, rejecting the hypothesis with a conventional level below the level was below the conventional threshold of 0.05. The statistical significance at that 0.000 indicates that that hypothesis was rejected, which technically means that the occupational prestige score does mediate the relationship between socioeconomic status and race. The coefficients table breaks down statistical significance, again, P being greater than the 0.000. The unstandardized coefficient shows a major decline in the beta section among the variables, occupational prestige score at 1.364, with the independent variable in the opposite side of that spectrum, in the negative, at 1.173. But it carries a threshold of, although it's less than the conventional threshold, is 3 points above the other significant, statistically significant threshold. The potential impact for the proposed theory is to create an effect in the diverse population of psychology scholars or students that would foster interest in becoming an IO psychologist. Rather than making the argument revolve around a need for more diverse populations in the profession, I thought making an appeal or reasoning that would in hope to make a greater impact. According to Allen, Alton, and Duffy of 2014, the Psychology of Working framework recognizes that work can fulfill three basic human needs: survival and power, social connectedness, and self-determination, of which evidence largely supports this claim. As someone like myself who has hands-on experience in the IO psychology profession, I can attest to those factors. Presenting those facts along with mention of some personal experiences to a target audience is likely to at least foster thoughts within the individual to think differently about IO psychology. Limitations. The mediation or causal model itself can be a limitation to the research. According to Warner, the data used in the estimation of the strength relationship derived from a mediation model typically evolves from non-experimental studies and non-experimental data. Also, if the coefficient among the variables like X2 and Y is statistically significant and large enough in magnitude that indicates a change in the outcome variable, it is actually considered consistent with the possibility of the X2 causing the Y. Yet it is not proof of a causal connection. However, the research study did not directly reflect these limitations due to the rejection of the hypothesis. Conclusion. The research data provided support to the theory to create and appeal to a diverse population in the psychology profession in order to consider IO psychology as a major. Having the socioeconomic status as the dependent variable with a mediating variable of occupational prestige score provided insight on the relationship to the independent variable of race. Use of the optimal psychology theory conveyed the statistically significant hypothesis as feasible and convincing. An IO psychologist's role in the world of occupation can be considered a mainstay of which could lead one, in particular a diverse population, to take on the challenge of pursuing a career in the profession. And social change is a deep and abiding belief that has always united our diverse university community. And that's coming from our Walden University president, Dr. Ward Boomer. Thank you for your time.